नीचे के दो बटन दब गए ऊपर वाला. Oh my God. Just a minute. Empty glance tossed my milky foamy room, sea of thoughts hovered at my coffee table page, absolute blank and virgin. Curing for warmth, my numbed fingers moved, raptured thoughts jingled, jogging whole street, wonder petal of memoir that I desperately chase. Sunday evening greets to all the wonderful, valuable guests, and who are part of this entire journey of this Shitala Conversations and Naisa show. You are watching our 84th important special Naisa show. I have been late because we could not. We had some technical snag over here, so I'll be cutting short my introduction. But I want to tell you that it has been a wonderful journey. We have gone through the heritage story of heritages, culture, traditions, literature, art, musicology, and our guests have been people with the great substance, people with the great insight, people with integrity, honesty, and scholarship. So it is a great day today, and I also said about one thing about the book, knowledge of books, and book. It was about uh, Oscar Wilde, who said that a book which you are not able to read again and again is not worth reading. So there was a time when we used to read Tolstoy, we used to read Tagore, Chekhov, anybody, Indian subcontinent, Hindi, Urdu, English literature, and we used to read it again and again. So that was a kind of a thing because it was not an information, it was not jerky, it was something. There had soulfulness in it. That substance has slightly, it is there somewhere, but we are not able to. We are lost in the jungle of the books because there's an information age, and lot many things have changed over. And people nowadays there are n number of books, mushroom of books, with cut, copy, paste, kind of approach, and you don't know where to read and what to read. You certainly need some people, some reviewers, some great critics who are not only appreciators who have the critical analysis of the literature. You need those people around. And there are certain people who are still working, and there are certain wonderful books which are going on, which are being written on the new genre, and they are really exhilarating. They are very informative. They are very interesting. Their reading is very easy. So that is how the story goes, and it has been probably we have reviewed under one special title which we derived. We brought one broadcaster who had bought his book. We had, discussed on one particular show, and there are two, three books more, and under the title that was the eminent author and the book talk. So today we are continuing with that particular subtitle of Shitla Conversations, and today's title is all about it is about one particular book, the essays that may change your belief. There's a wonderful book. The title himself, it's very inquisitive. You get curious also to know about this particular title. What are the beliefs? What are the systems Avtarji is talking about? And Avtarji, we all know, I don't need to introduce him again and again. Avtarji is a very interesting blogger, the pioneer blogger of Jammu and Kashmir, first blogger of Jammu and Kashmir, whose blog runs into the millions of viewers across the globe because of its content. And its content is completely brimmed with art, literature, history, geography, travelogues, and it has a very special flair of a writer, of a scholar, of a literature. He's a poet, he's a traveler, and he has gone into many, 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 many countries in the West as well as the East, and that's how it is. And Avtarji is he's coming to the show is something which we certainly cherish, and it's a great time to have Avtarji with us. So I think Avtarji's connection is slightly lost. I'll just call him again. Just a minute. I don't know. आप ज्वाइन करिए ना दोबारा. No, I think he's not. So Avtarji is. It was disconnected, so he'll be back again. So he's a man. I don't need to praise him on his face. He's here. He's here. And before that, I would like to say that it is Avtarji has written three books before that, and he had started. His blog. People have requested him that all his work in the entire life arena, life period, whatever he has written and jotted down, why doesn't he publish it? So he has published three, four books. One is the what it called, snowstorm. I've forgotten the name title again. And Lament, the landscape at the Lament, and another is the author's books, the books you have not read, or something like that. And last one is the book which we are reviewing today, the essays that may change your beliefs. So, Tulips and the Snowstorm is the first book. I have gone through the half of that book, and it is a very anecdotal, engaging kind of a very fresh. It has a blood and warm flesh and blood stories. They are the real ones. You feel like encountering them into the real metaphors, real imageries, and it has a very great, in-depth sense of humor there. So that's how it is. And today we are going to welcome him into the Shitala Conversation studio with great warmth and great reverence to talk about a bit about his life, his writing time, writing period, how he began his journey. And then we'll definitely go to the book we are going to talk and focus on today, the essays that may change your beliefs. So let's welcome with great reverence and affection Avtar Mota ji into the studio. Avtarji, you are welcome into the 84th Sheetalnath Conversations show. Renai Sashu.
Namaskar, namaskar, namaskar. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank
Yeah.
you for making this wonderful show available to me. It's really wonderful and watched across the globe by Kashmiris in particular and the other audience in general. Lovely show. Thank you very much again.
Okay. Avtarji, to begin with, I'll just first of all go back to because now we have been talking about it is your fourth not consecutive, fourth show. And we have been talking about many things about your life, and probably there are some subjects you are explaining in today's book. There, we have already had a discussion. There's a Kashmiris in freedom struggle, and the Kashmiris in the film industry. We had a complete show with you on those. But having said that, let's begin with how this writer, a person who was into a professional service of banking, and where did the story of writing actually begin? What is your style of writing? Who inspired you? I know you are a voracious reader because unless and until you read so many of books, you cannot research to that precision. Was this habit right at the beginning of your career when you were in school or college days? Tell us something about those days and development of writer. We may call it by any name, by scholar, by literature, by poet, by blogger. Blog contains everything. How did it actually begin?
By school, I had nothing to do with writing. During my
Okay.
school days, I had nothing to do with writing. My initial schooling was in Rajasthan, Kota, and then Chambal. And then in seventh class, we moved to Srinagar, and I was admitted to DAV school, Ranawari. So in that school, I had nothing to do with writing. It was only later in first year TDC I developed interest in writing. My writing and first reading, my friend Kuldeep Machama would buy novels on rent those days, 15 paisa, 20 paisa per night he would buy. But those were those Jasusi type novels, Captain Hamid, Colonel Vinod, and then Gulshan Nanda. And then
So,
gradually, I developed interest in writing. In my college, uh, Professor Nazir Khan was our principal. He had a general habit, very liberal habit of waiving 50% of the college fee.
okay.
So he waived 50% of the college fee. First time I had a surplus of about 60 or 70 rupees. 120 or 140 rupees was the fee. He waived 50%, and I had a surplus of 70 rupees. With that 70 rupees, I bought Ek Chadar Maili Si, a novel.
Acha. Arey, that was
Rajendra Singh Bedi's novel.
Rajendra Singh Bedi.
Yes,
Rajendra Singh
yes.
Bedi.
And I
Movie.
read, and then I developed an interest to read literature. And then in my final year of the college, I read Albert Camus. The first book that I read novel was Albert Camus' Outsider. So I began with a very tough book, and then the journey started. Then I started reading. I developed an interest. Read Naipaul, read so many authors.
Yes, Raipal. Hmm.
Yes, then read poetry also. Then indulged in writing poetry also. Ultimately, I was a member of the college Bazme Adab also, and then debating also. I did. I won a prize in SP College in debating, third prize,
Okay.
inter college debate. That developed, and ultimately in my banking career, During nights, I would devote half an hour, 1 hour, half an hour, or 2 hours to reading and writing, noting, jotting down. Even if I was busiest in my work, this 1 hour or half hour or 2 hours would every day be given to reading or writing. So post retirement, I devoted whole time to this writing. Not whole time exactly. Every night, every 3 or 4 hours, I devote to it. That is how you have an author before you.
And this blogging went, your blogger, you started your blog.
Blogging started in my career. Blogging started in my career. It's an actually a idea to communicate with people.
Yes,
You
that's
have
true.
this is the best way to write a blog. You communicate with people, so many people.
But there is a distinctiveness you are with your blog. Especially, there are lot many people, thousands of us who are writing the blogs, but nobody's blog is as popular as yours. How is it so?
My blog viewership is around 17. Yesterday it was 17 lakhs 78,000
Oh my
people are
God,
watching it.
that's so
Because it
enormous.
is Kashmir specific and I touch some subjects which are generally not told to people. I bring them on my blog. I bring poetry, I bring translation, I bring photographs, something interesting that it creates interest in people, so people start watching it.
Photographs create a great interest in people. I'm seeing
Yes,
the now being putting family
enormous
photograph up.
audio visual impact they create in the mind.
Yeah, that creates a kind of a bonhomie, and people get connected and catapulted this kind of a thing. And tell us something about your writing flair. How do you define your writing flair? What really inspires you? What really moves you to write? Is it a regular
Uh,
practice? Yeah.
I hold on to the truth, even
Okay.
if it doesn't. Ultimately, it pleases everybody.
Truth pleases
If
everyone.
you tell something that people want to read,
Hmm.
they will come to you. That people want to know, people want to read. Or you have a short term, you have a short style of writing, you feed the appetites with falsehood, with incorrect narratives. Temporarily, for short term, you may gain popularity, but in the long run, people will say that this is nothing, this is not the
Not
correct,
what
we did want to know it.
what to
So
say there.
I hold on to the truth
And
that pays you in the long run.
how do you define your writing flair, writing style, and writing how do you
I write short sentences. I write simple English. That is it. Nothing more than that. I
you write
write the way I feel. The way I don't use difficult words. My writing must be understood by person who is semi-literate. He must understand what I'm writing. So you
that's
reach broader section of people if you write simple. If you use very heavy words for which persons have to consult dictionary, you limit your audience, readership.
that's true.
To enlarge your readership, you must write simple, you must write short sentences, you must write in a language that they easily understand, that they easily get identified with.
That's true. And then again, writing simple doesn't necessarily mean that you use vocabularies only.
No, no,
Writing
no, you
simple also
must speak,
communicable.
speak.
It should be communicable.
Something you must have something to say. People must receive something from you.
So content to speak something and to say
Yes.
something, which is the one of famous writers, especially I would like because I'm an English reader, Hindi and English and Urdu, who has really fascinated you or just created this urge.
In poetry, I like Ghalib and Nirala.
Ah, ha, ha, Ghalib is
No
my
match to Ghalib, no match to Nirala.
mine
Hindi.
is Ghalib and Mahadevi Verma. Yeah.
Amadi
Yes.
Verma also I like Nirala. And then in English, Camus is my favorite, Albert Camus.
Albert Camus. Okay, because
Though he's a little philosophical, yes.
you
He
begin with
remained my, yes, as you said, that you must read a book repeatedly, that is the real book. Outsider, I must have read his Outsider 20, 30 times.
that's what Oscar Wilde has said
Ah,
that
yes.
a book which cannot be read again and again is not worth reading at all. And how many
And
books
then,
we have
then,
nowadays?
then, then Naipaul, I have read almost entire Camus, what has he written. His essays also I read. Then I have read almost entire V.S. Naipaul.
V.S. Naipaul, you have read Papillon? Sorry, no, Papillon. No, Papillon was not V.S. Papillon was somebody else. Yeah, V.S. Naipaul is this famous book which was in the Jaipur Literary
The Area
Festival.
of Darkness, I read The Area of Darkness.
Area of
It
Darkness.
created a huge interest in me because half of the book is on Kashmir.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That's so
Half
wonderful.
of the book is on Kashmir.
And then one more thing I would like to say, because certainly I want to give this feed rather to the younger generation of writers. Nowadays, we have a. I don't criticize anyone. I'm a theatre and art and literary critic, but I don't criticize anyone. But I feel that the younger generation of writers, they are somewhere, they're not connected with the soil, with the earth, with the source of the writing. Do you have something to say about, no, one thing you said very wonderfully, that what you must have something to say and you must communicate it very simply. What suggestion
Yes.
for those that generation which is fed on the internet and the Google Baba and all the information is through? I mean, how can that freshness be brought into their writing genres?
I will again repeat it. Write something that you really feel, not fashion writing. If you don't feel something, don't write it. When you feel something, write it. It will become the best. It will be loved by people. If you feel something, if it comes from your heart, people will like it. If it doesn't come from your heart, you just cut and paste it. It may create temporary some readers. In the long run, it will not survive. It will not survive. It will not earn readership. Whatever you feel, you write it truthfully. That is the best writing. Write it simply so that you reach many people. Don't write it in a complicated manner. That's my style,
That's
way
so
of
wonderful.
writing.
That's so wonderful. There's another quote on books I would like to quote. One I would like to quote, which you have quoted in your book, that I'll quote a bit later. Murakami has written, "If you only read the book
Yes,
that everyone else is reading," this is another line. If you only read a book that everyone else is reading, you can only think what everyone else is thinking.
yes, that's I have quoted it in my book.
You have quoted it? Oh,
Yes,
which one? Which one? Which book?
this the book that we are discussing today. This quote is in that book.
Arey,
I have
great, great,
quoted it.
great.
In the
My
preface. I have
goodness.
quoted this particular quote.
Avdaji, let's begin with the journey of your current books. You have become suddenly, what, how I introduced it. Is it true that there was pressure on you and people were asking you that you at least consolidate all your work and just bring it in the shape of the book? The book is going
Yes,
to stay.
yes, yes. Because on Facebook also I do most of the work that I do is literary work, not photographs, not good morning, not
But
flowers, nothing.
today I forced you to put photographs because people get engaged with the photographs. So they
Yes,
like,
yes, yes,
God
yes,
bless
yes,
you,
yes.
well done.
I think
That is part of social life. Yeah.
I think for the first time I have put my family photographs. My family is for me, but I must say to people what I want to say.
Yes.
My family is secondary. That's a private issue, and then I purely put literary work on Facebook. Then my many friends or in the blog also, they kept on telling me, you consolidate them, create a book for the posterity. If I start creating books, there will be 100 books. I have around 17, 1800 files on the blog.
One more thing before we begin, Avtarji, because today I want to slightly we are friends, but slightly I want to go to that level. You tell me first of all, you are a very widespread writer. You like I explained, octopus is just a metaphor I used. So you move into all directions. You have a gaze in every direction. And how is manly possible? How is it manly possible? What is the phenomenon? What is the methodology you adopt to, I mean, spread your thought in all the directions, 360 and all quadrants?
I have a one shortcut to it, a formula that I have devised.
What is
Wherever
it?
you go, whatever you do, keep your mind open. Keep
That's
your
it.
mind open. Even if I sit in the train, I look right, left, people talk, communicate. If you communicate, if things come out, you learn also. You can learn even from a peon, a
Correct.
driver, a conductor, any person. There's a the life is meant for learning. It's an exercise of learning. I take it as a learning. Anywhere, everywhere, to any place I go, I keep my mind open, interact with people, talk to them, and things come out.
And you are this Tulips and the Snowstorm is a kind of a collection. I have read. I've gone through many. I recollect half of it. I've read almost, and because I wanted to review that, but then something happened. Tell this. I remember that Duda was something which I have
Yes,
also heard in my childhood.
Duda was
You are,
uninvited guest. It's
and,
typical to Kashmiri, but Duda exists in every society.
but
In
you have characterized him as a Robin Hood kind of. He's a man who dresses
yes,
well, waits for the time. He's cozy,
exactly. Opportune time.
he's cool, intelligent. And then
And
he
with
moves.
confidence enters the feast where feast is there, and then
So wonderful.
grabs
Let's talk
his food and comes out with confidence.
That's so wonderful. I mean, we had all these stories around. Society is the web of all these experiences and anecdotes. Tell us something about more about this Tulips and the Snowstorm. Then we'll move to the another book briefly. Then we'll go to
Tulips,
the next book.
Tulips and Snowstorm is a book that I wrote first. It has two sections. One has short stories. They are contemporary short stories. Second
I'm
part
allowed to
has
take coffee. I'm taking a
yes,
coffee.
sure. Then second part has anecdotes on social life of Kashmir. There is a sense of humor, underlying sense of humor. If you read them, yeah, underlying sense of humor. There's a story about the Laldat hospital, how women would cry there. There's a story of Surti Gujarati hotel. So many stories. People will immediately connect with these stories. Anecdotal stories and short stories. All short stories are based, also, they carry a underlying humor. Say, for example, there's a satire on the book release functions that we are holding.
Okay.
Even sometimes people who attend the book release function, they take the book, keep it there, and come out. When the door of where the book release function is was to be held, I have personally seen it was to be closed. The doorkeeper said, "What to do with these books? They have brought these books here only." They had attended book release functions and they kept the books and went away, took the
I
tea and
really
went away.
I really remember and recall and pity George Bernard Shaw. अगर वो आज जिंदा होता तो क्या कहते थे? Fools are those who lend books, and getter fools are those who return them back. So such was the value of book at one point in time, and this small everyday inaugurating bookshops with garlanding and other
Yes,
things.
yes, yes.
They are
The
mushrooming around.
people, I have observed that people simply go to book release functions to get a book, which they never read. They will never read it. They will keep it there. It will be lying there on the table where they were sitting. They will come out of the hall and forget everything about the function.
And the author will say
That's
कैसा ठीक है हाँ सब बहुत बढ़िया बहुत
yes,
बढ़िया बहुत बढ़िया अरे कुछ चार लफ्ज तो पढ़ो कुछ कमेंट्री तो करो anyway sir even I'm please forgive me I'm a very straight person I have seen this because I'm myself a critic I've seen these reviewers either those are the bundle of praises for his friend or they don't go through the complete detail of the book a book should
now,
be read
every reviewer must read the book.
you
Unless you
must
read the book, you cannot review it. Yeah.
in depth and
You
in
must
detail.
talk about the book. What is in the book inside?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Anyway, let's go to that's the story you want to tell about Tulips and the Snowstorm, or we move to next.
We move to
Acha, I want to ask some objective questions about this landscape and the lament. You know,
yes,
that's what I am. That's how Avtarji is. So we both are encountering today. I think this is also a story of our journey from Burjuhoma till date.
yes,
You know, and then your narrative is, you call him as a rebel, Bansi Parmu. I would not.
yes,
I want to explain a bit. I mean, because I can't put these questions to a common writer or common person. So you are a man. Certainly, I'll push these questions to you. You talk about the narrative about the rebel. I would like to understand. Let's slightly open up what the rebel means. And these are the two narratives you have webbed together. Did you want this flesh and blood story added onto the journey of Burzuhoma, the journey of Burzuhoma? What was exactly it? Intellectual,
nahi,
autistic, civilizational? Where is that rebel? Yeah. He's a great
rebel.
yeah, yeah.
Rebel is the nature of the artist. He was rebel. He rebelled against everything, against the system. It didn't pay him much, but he rebelled against the system. He never begged any person for anything. Even I would say, when he in a function, Sadiq Saab was the chief guest. He
Okay.
was very close to Sadiq Saab. I'm talking of Bansi Parmu. He was very close to Sadiq Saab, and Sadiq Saab had a habit of owning and disowning people
Okay.
in a fraction of seconds. He would own a person, and if he found that he person was doing something else, he would immediately disown him in a stylish manner.
Oh my
So
goodness.
he
Such a
worked for Sadiq. He worked for Sadiq Saab, and then he started something policies of Sadiq Saab when he inducted some favorites. into the assembly.
Yeah.
Then he felt disillusioned. Then in a function, Sadiq Saab was chief guest. When Bansi Parmu was to receive him, Sadiq Saab deliberately told him, "Hello, Mohanji, how are you?" He said, "I'm Bansi Parmu." You don't know me.
It reminds me of Rajkumar. It reminds me of Rajkumar asking Dharmender, Rajender, kaise ho? Dharmender in his head.
Yes, 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 yes.
Rajkumar used to call Dharmender, hi Rajender, kaise ho? Anyway,
Then he felt again disillusioned with Bakshi Saab. The formation of Democratic National Conference, he played a major role in that, Bansi Parmu.
okay.
So that way, he never asked any person for anything, personal favor,
Personal gains. Personal.
personal gains. And when government decided to cut chinars to build a bridge, he threatened to go for fast and to death. That way he was a rebel. He never compromised with his principles. Never compromised his principles. That created. And then in one meeting, he told SB Chauhan that you are here for Hangul project, but you have forgotten the real Hangul. He said, which real Hangul? Kashmiri Pandit.
Correct.
What are you doing for him?
That was a common pain.
It was, I think, it was much before migration, 84, 85, no, something around 87 or 88. He said, you have come to Srinagar to inaugurate a project on Hangul, but what are you doing for the real Hangul, which is vanishing in Kashmir, the Kashmiri Pandit.
Extinction.
Facing extinction.
Species.
In that way, I named him Rebel, the book title, in the book title.
But question is just for the formation of a novel, formation of a book comes into my mind, structure of book comes to my mind. If Bansi Parmu was absent in this book, did you add the flesh and blood story of Bansi Parmu to make it, propel around?
No, there is a story. There is a biography of Bansi Parmu. Biography. He emerges from a tradition, the tradition of art in Kashmir. So I had to give a background.
I have great regards for him as an artist. I'm talking about it as an author. You mixed the two narratives.
Yes.
So, that's what I know.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move ahead. Today we are not going to talk much about that. Another book now I'm talking about the books. It's a wonderful thing. It's a new thing, fresh thing. And certainly it will be a great treat for the lazy people who cannot read all the kind of books. So they will like to have your reviews. And you reviews those books. This is the book based on your reviews. And
yes.
I don't know from where to book. What was the basic purpose of this book? Was this noble purpose that at least whatever I have reviewed, let it come to the public?
Yes, I actually have reviewed around 50, 60 books. They have been published in newspapers and periodicals and journals. Then last 2 years, I was suggested that last 2 years reviews, let you consolidate them. Because in my review, I will deal the entire book. If you read my review, you get an idea what is the book all about. I will not talk much about the author. I will not talk much about other connected issues. My focus is the chapter-wise the book. So I was told that you at least bring 15, 16 books so that people who have not read books, they will read only one book to read 16 books in one book. That was the idea.
That also fascinated me when I saw the footnote on this. That fascinated me. That's a way. At least कुछ books, सारी books तो आप पढ़ नहीं सकते. Some of the books you want to read. So at least आप में से कोई जो आपको पसंद आए after review.
In that I have consolidated a review of Moon of the Saffron Fields by Pran Kishore, Mail Laldat by Agni Shekhar, Bahiristan-e-Shahi by Dr. Kashinath Pandita.
Bahiristan-e-Shahi by Kashinath Pandita.
And Lalwat Echoes.
Jagannath also. Jagannath Azad.
Tej Ran, yes, Jagannath Azad's book.
Broadcasting Journey of Pran Kishore.
Jammu Jo Kabhi Sheher Tha by Padma Sachdev. I have reviewed it.
That's good.
Neel Gatha Agni Shekhar. Bhadrava.
Neel Gatha is the latest one.
Yes, the Bhadrava, the Unexplored Heaven by my friend D.K. Dogra. That I have considered. Torn from the Roots, Kamla Patel. It's a partial story. Art in Kashmir and Mohan Raina, Barf aur Aag. So many books, 15, 16 books, I have put them in one.
You have quoted this, Kafka. A book must be the X for the frozen sea within us. So
yes.
I want to know, do these books contain the wonder X? to break the frozen sea within?
You must read Tulips and the Snowstorm. Certainly, it will break the ice. I would request every person to read the Tulips and the Snowstorm, at least
That's a
Kashmiris.
beautiful one. That I have read. That I have read. That's a wonderful one. That's a wonderful one. Anything you would? I mean, just a quick wrap up. There are certain subjects which are there since time immemorial. Like Laldat ji's Agnishekar is one of the great writer. There's a friend, very close friend, and he's a very sensible, very brilliant man. He has written on Laldat, and then there's Neel Gatha also. Neel Gatha, I don't know, it is in perspective of the mythology and the history also. I want to know, like on Azad, Jagannath Azad, somebody has written, and then the personal experience of Pran Kishore as a broadcaster. That is something new.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's very difficult. It is very difficult to reinvent an old legend like Agnishekar has done it. So how do you describe? Because there is a plethora of books. They have a diversified structure. How do you explain? Like to tell us about as a reviewer, what was the difference of these unraveling and deciphering the entire?
All the books that I have covered in this book, they are wonderful books.
Okay,
They are off the track books.
of the track.
Of the track. They're not normal books. So to create interest in readers, I consolidate the reviews. You must read these books. They are different books. And every person who wants to know Kashmir, who wants to know history, who wants to know objective things, must read these books. That's why I have consolidated them. They
Okay.
are not normal books written in routine.
So that endorses the this last one, last quote, that the books. I mean,
Yes,
yes,
they will break the ice within the
they will break the ice. Kafka.
Kafka. Yes.
आपने बड़ी जबरदस्त एक्सेंट यूज करी है सर. So they are ultimately your her intent is very noble to catapult the audience's attention towards the book.
Because people don't read. I don't know what has happened. People don't read. People
आपको
don't.
उसका बर्थडे फोटो होना था विद टाइम कैसे बढ़ लो तो बर्थडे
Uh,
इन बिटवीन अ बर्थडे
they
रिजॉइस
will
क्या
buy the books. They will buy the books, decorate it on the shelf, but they will not read it. I don't
then
know
the
what.
shelf will decay and the books will decay.
And in during our college days, we were running after books. Somebody would give us a book. We would read. We had plenty of
Yeah,
time. This
that
time,
time
this time also, I will not sleep unless I read 2 3 pages of a book. Unless I write some 2 3 pages. The book gives me sleep.
just an intervention here again, again coming to your personality and your dincharya, because you are a banker, probably you are very well versed with this, Excel sheets and writing and everything that it is in your blood, probably in your profession. But besides that, when you are on the literary side, writing a blog very regularly, traveling, going to the books, researching, and meeting those research on the ground, it's a very hurricane exercise, and certainly one can't do it manually, well, physically, unless and until he's in love for it. He's a great love for it. But how do you design your day? I mean, you have to read and write. Read, write, and research. There are the three important components of Avtar Mota's blog and writing. So I
No, no, no,
am
I do my household jobs also. I had to help my wife also. I have to
that's
attend to my children also. I had to attend correspondence also.
that's true. That's true. But how do
So
you do it?
unless you design your day. I have to go for morning walk also.
Okay.
I do my household job also. You can't live unless you cannot
That's
write only books and read. You have to
that's
attend to
true.
family affairs also. But the night time, I devote 3 hours to my
3 hours. Up to what
books.
time?
Three
Morning,
hours,
morning,
ten
morning.
thirty to 12:30. I sometimes up to 1 a.m.
Okay.
I get up from my enter my study at 10 a.m. or 10:15 a.m. and then I am there up to quarter to say 1 or sometimes 12:30, and I will sleep in 5 minutes. I have just to put my head on the pillow and I fall asleep.
That way you're very lucky. That way people तो टेबलेट लेके सोते हैं बेचारे. आप इतना काम करते हो,
Yes,
everything you, and you
it
are
is
getting,
something.
I must compliment you. You are getting younger day by day. Last meeting से आप और younger हो रहे हैं. It is all because of this
Thank you.
Saraswati,
Thank you.
great
Then I
Saraswati.
go for a morning walk every day. I must go for a morning walk every day. I miss my lunch. I don't have lunch. I have only one time dinner.
So let's go to this now. Come to this
Yes.
today's book, the book talk. Today we have and eminent author and the book talk. So let's have a book talk. Let's unravel and begin this book talk about essays that may change your belief. First of all, a brief brief on this. Then we'll go from subject to subject, one particular essay to another. After a brief about this,
Yes,
how did you write
this
this
is
book?
a book. This is a book. These are essays. They are something different essays.
Okay.
The often repeated narrative that we are listening or reading or coming across about certain issues, I have changed them, deviated from the normal routine, the often repeated narratives. Say, for example, my first essay is History has been unfair to Emperor Lalitaditya of Kashmir.
Yes, yes, yes.
It has been unfair. He finds no mention in any history book, although I would call him Napoleon of Kashmir. He marched right up to Central Asia and to the shores of Caspian Sea, but he doesn't find mention anywhere in our history books. I don't know why. He is an icon. Firstly, I would like to tell we, I included, we have never adored, respected, encouraged, and I should say recognized our own icons. Who are our
No,
icons?
when we talk about our icons are in the past centuries. Yes, we had the
Yes.
20th century some of icons in 20th century,
No,
but
past century, let us forget past century icons. I will say the recent icons, nobody in Kashmir, no Kashmiri knows who were Neve brothers, the doctors who brought medicine, surgery to Kashmir.
exactly.
I would say there should have been a memorial of Neve brothers in Dal Chowk,
That's
the
true.
doctors.
That's true.
I am told by my elders that the Neve brothers would come down to Dalgate, stand there, carry the sick on their shoulders, and say Balai Lagai, Zu Vandai, and carry him to the hospital and treat him there. Such great people, such missionary work they did in Kashmir during choleras. But nobody knows, there is no memorial. On the
I think
contrary, I saw in America the Titanic ship. In
Titanic
that,
ship.
two people were drowned, Ida and Isidor Strass, the owners of Macy's. They have memorial for these two people in Upper Manhattan, 92 Street. You have a park, Ida and Isidor Strass Park. They create memorial for everybody. We don't have memorial for New Brothers. We don't have
That's
memorial for Tandal Biscu, who gave us education, modern education. No memorial. Nobody, 10 years, 20 years ahead, nobody will know who was Nadim. There is no
uh,
memorial for Maqbul Sherwani. There is no memorial for Kashyap Bandhu. Nobody knows Ramzan Ju,
Ramzan Ju.
the Sufiana musician. Stan, you only know there is no memorial for Stan. Gave us history exposure. He brought our history to
Oralston.
the world platform.
Oralston. All right.
Yes, but nobody knows. There should have
That's
been
a
a
great
memorial for
feat.
him.
That's a great feat.
Nobody knows who is Mohalal Ahmad.
They are the
Uh,
contemporary.
In that context, I am telling you,
Do we have a memorial for Lalda? I don't think we have a
no,
memorial.
no, we don't have any Laldat. We praise, we write books on, we do research on Laldat, but on ground we have failed to place her. There is no memory. There used to be Laltrag, a small pond type of thing in Pampur. I think it has been taken over. People have constructed houses over it, and there is nothing Laldat we have failed to place on ground.
Let's come to
I
this
will
first
tell you,
chapter.
we don't know. People don't know who is Kudus Gojwari,
They don't
who
know.
saved the wife and daughter-in-law of Birbal Dhar, protected him, and the Afghans
At that time.
he paid the price for it. We don't know. We don't know who is Kudus Gojwari. Nobody knows. Nobody talks about him.
And people also confuse Bilbar Dar with some other Dar, Gokul Dar and
Yes,
Falana
and there is no memorial for Abhinav Gupta. There is no
Dar.
memorial for Vasu Gupta. There is no memorial. I'm
Nagarjuna.
happy. I'm happy. Badsha is remembered. At least Badsha. We have a Badsha bridge and we have Badsha Chowk in Lal Chowk.
Yes, that's true. That's a very dichotomy of our community, Kashmiris in general, and at micro level and macro level, the people who govern Kashmir have been governing Kashmir over the centuries, over the decades, especially in the post-modern.
And then the second chapter of the book is the Dogra rulers did not introduce Begar in Kashmir.
Yes, I
Begar is
would.
an Begar
I've read this chapter. You have come. It's a very detailed chapter, and
is
you have
as old as
gone into
history of Kashmir.
Genesis of Begar. Yeah.
But whenever we talk Begar, we say Dogra rulers. The enormous amount of good work that Dogra rulers did in our state is overlooked. When you bring the term Begar, they brought Begar. In fact, they abolished Begar. They gave a human face to the Begar. And then I have an essay on R.L. Stein, how much work he did to preserve our manuscripts. Then there's an essay on Captain Diwan Singh, what exactly he told about. He told me about the events of October 1947, how Maharaja was driven out from the state.
Actually, I read your
Behind the
excerpt
scene.
of Captain Devan Singh, which had been interviewed. I mean, they are similar to what Larry Collins and Namnik Leper wrote in this accession of Kashmir. That Maharaja tells his ADC, "Wake me up in the morning,
Yes,
or
yes.
put me dead in my bedroom if Indian forces or VP Manan doesn't arrive by the morning." Something like that. Similar thing has been explained by Diwan Saab to you in your interview. That is something.
A canard or rumor is spread that Maharaja ran away from Srinagar at the dead of the night. He ran away. He feared the tribal
Putting all
raiders.
wealth and treasures
It's
along
not
with it.
true. It is not truth. It is not something true. Then you can say, where was Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah? He was with Nehru on 25th, 26th October. He was he sent the slip, the accession. This when the Meherchand Mahajan went to with the paper accession paper, Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah was sitting with Nehru in Delhi. He had already left Kashmir. So next, the essay is the contribution of Kashmiris in cinema, contribution of Kashmiris in freedom of the country, freedom struggle of the country. Muslims and Hindu Kashmiri Pandits, they have contributed to the freedom struggle of the country. Then the Buddhist connection of Kashmir is an essay.
That's a very already known chapter.
Then you have the what tribal raiders did to Baramulla. Then unusual essay I have put in influence of Upanishads and Vedanta on Mirza Ghalib.
Wonderful. Mirza Ghalib, I think Mirza Ghalib has lot many. I have read his Masnavis on Banaras and Upanishads because that Bedil
Effect, yes.
was
Bedil is a source. Bedil was a lover of Upanishads and Mirza Ghalib was a pupil fan of Bedil. He influenced by Bedil. And obviously that came to his side. And then you have erotic art in Kashmir, Biju Patnaik's role in Kashmir.
Yes, Biju Patnaik is a very interesting story. We know him as a very sluggish politician, and one gets very amazed to know that he was a
pilot.
Air Force pilot, and he was there in accession. Tell us something about that. Let's begin with that.
When in 1947 it was decided to fly the Sikh regiment to Kashmir, so the pilots were told that most probably, the airports of Srinagar airport must be under the tribal raiders. Nobody knew on ground. It was Biju Patnaik who made first sortie. He almost touched the earth and came up with a report that there is no Kashmir airport, Srinagar airport is free. We can land there. And the first plane that landed in Kashmir with Sikh regiment was piloted by Biju Patnaik. Nobody knows it. No person tells you this story that Biju Patnaik drove the first plane. Then I have a story on Emperor Akbar's visit to Kashmir. In fact, Chucks had imposed jizya on Kashmiri Pandits. Kashmiri Pandits used to pay jizya. It was Akbar only, his magnanimity, that when he came to know that they are paying jizya, he immediately gave orders that it should be immediately remitted. Those who charge jizya, asked them to pay jizya, will be punished by me. And he went to Mutton also, gave liberal donations to Brahmins over there.
And
then there is a story.
He came to Kashmir. Probably he came to Kashmir thrice, while Jahangir came to 13 times.
Akbar, it is said, came 4 times, but 3 times it's recorded. He came with Raja Todarmal.
I have heard about some English author written way back that there used to be a conclave of this and the procession of these elephants during the dusty roads. They would go to the Mughal Road,
Yes.
during the heat of Delhi, move along, sit there 2 months, and leave, something like that. Tell us something more about this. This is a very interesting anecdote. Yeah.
Akbar came to Kashmir during 16th century. He came with Mughal troops, Raja Todarmal. The first bandobast, land measurement was done by Raja Todarmal. Raja Todarmal. They camped near what is presently known as Hari Parbat. Then Akbar ordered that a wall must be built around Hari Parbat fortification. They called it Nagar Nagor. They built a new city inside that Hari Parbat fort. And the Kathi Darwaza gate. You have a writing in Persian script that the wall was constructed and every laborer was paid. No Beghar was undertaken. That means Beghar was prevalent in Kashmir at that time also when Akbar came.
And probably
No,
Shah Jahan or Jahangir, he gave a relief, no, not Jahangir, Dogra rule, gave a relief to the Begar for some time. I think that is
Maharaja Pratap Singh issued orders that everybody should join Begar. Begar was undertaken by Dogras. Ramban had a Begar Sarai. People from Jammu region, they would come to Ramban, stay there, and they would join the Begar. Of course, Kashmiri Muslims were the largest peasantry that were carried. But some they suffered also. Many people died also because of frostbites. It was a long journey from Srinagar to sometimes Gilgit, sometimes to other areas, sometimes to Astor. So many people died. Many poor people died. It was a lot of exploitation. But you can't say that Begar was not undertaken by other people. Maharaja Pratap Singh issued orders. I have seen these orders in the archives department that every person should join Begar. And some poor Kashmiri Pandits were also taken for Begar, especially the cooks who had no land. They had no land in agricultural land in the villages. So when they were idle, they would go for Begar. And it was Dogra Maharajas who paid rice, rice, and some cash for Begar. And finally, Maharaja Hari Singh abolished it. But to understand Begar, we need to understand the Sikh Empire Genesis also. How Begar was created in Kashmir during Dogra rule and how it was stopped. See, Maharaja Ranjit Singh's rule. Maharaja Ranjit Singh died in 1839.
right.
So after his death, entire Punjab, Lahore Darbar went into crisis. There was a war of succession going on between them.
Keep Singh and others.
Yes. And then British were always eyeing Punjab. So British fought the first war. 1845, 1846, they attacked Lahore. In that attack, you will come to know how British created Begar in Kashmir. In that war, the Maharaja of Patiala, Maharaja of Jind, they sided with the British.
They were with the British at the time.
They were British. And Maharaja Gulab Singh, he was a Raja of Jammu. He played neutral. He neither sided with British, but his playing neutral helped the British. It helped the British. So when the Lahore Darbar lost it, Treaty of Lahore was first signed. In that treaty, the Englishmen put a stipulation that the war cost of 150 lakhs must be paid to them.
War indemnity.
Yes. Before the signing of Treaty of Amritsar, a Treaty of Lahore was signed with a 7-year-old boy, Dalip Singh, by Lord Hardinge. It was signed. It was a trickery. Treacherous game they played. And in that Lahore Treaty, they created an option that they will have hold over the entire areas of between Bias and Sindh, Indus. See how much. All the hilly states belong to them if they in that treaty. Because Lahore Darbars are unable to pay this 150 lakhs to them. In that lieu, they signed an agreement that included Kashmir also. Subsequent to Lahore Treaty, they signed the Treaty of Amritsar. In that treaty, they took away Jammu, Ladakh, and Baltistan, and they started to find a buyer for it. British started finding. First, they went to Maharaja Gulab Singh because he was in Jammu, Raja of Jammu. He refused first time. He said, "I don't have money this much." The Britisher said that we'll arrange money for you. We'll arrange a financier who will finance you. It was actually thrust on Gulab Singh. Then when Gulab Singh first refused, they said, will you buy Kangra for 30 lakhs? We are selling Kangra also. Kangra state. So he said, I don't have 30. He said, I don't have 30 lakhs. Then they ultimately coerced him to buy these Jammu, Ladakh, and Baltistan. The big Central Asian game, the expansion of Russia, is to be taken into account.
Yes,
When you
because that
see,
they came in, that
ah,
was British. I mean, just to coerce them and combat them
ah,
in this
yes, yes.
area,
Then,
they
then,
created
then,
this.
then they said him that you take Peshawar and you take Hazara and give us Ladakh. We want Ladakh because British wanted to station their troops over there to keep a check
It's a
on
visual.
Russian expansion in Central Asia and create a buffer state.
Buffer state. It was a buffer state.
But Gulab Singh did not agree. He said, no, Ladakh is mine. Because before that, before he was a Raja of Jammu, he had sent his troops to
Zorawar Singh.
Ladakh. Zorawar
Zorawar
Singh,
Singh.
he went.
All
He
people had
he didn't go via Kashmir. He went via Kishtwar. He entered
Kishtwar.
Suru Valley. He went via Kishtwar and he conquered Ladakh in 1840 for the Maharaja. So it was actually a game. Now British troops were stationed. Then British troops created Gilgit Agency. They placed a resident over there.
That was there was
They
Sir something. I forgot his name. Yeah, Sir Walt. I don't
in 1877 they created Gilgit Agency. They placed their resident over there. It was all
Resident.
intended to keep a check on the Russian expansion. Finally, they got the Gilgit leased to them. So it was under total control of the Britishers. The troops that were placed in Gilgit and forward areas, they pressurized, requested Maharaja to send laborers who would carry supplies. That started the Begar in Kashmir. The peasants, Kashmiri peasants, were taken for Begar, and then Pratap Singh brought peasantry from Jammu, from hilly areas, and some stray cases of Kashmiri Pandits, also very poor Pandits joining. It is said that the Saint Mirza Kak was also taken for Begar. He was also listed for Begar. He had some enmity with some local person. He was also listed that he will be taken for Begar next year. So that is how Begar developed in Kashmir. It is not, and then the British helped Maharaja Gulab Singh to enter Kashmir. The day he entered Kashmir, he faced resistance from the Sikh governor of Kashmir, Sheikh Imamuddin. There was virtual fight, gunfire. The
Subedar.
British troops had to join and remove Sheikh Imamuddin and establish Gulab Singh. So they wanted somebody to sit in the chair so that they could keep a watch over the Russian expansion. And they never wanted to take Kashmir because it had a cost, such a huge area administration. They never wanted to. They wanted somebody else to be there so that he could administer it, and then he would use it. That is how Begar came.
Actually, this Amritsar Treaty, Professor Ramnath Shastri, once I have written articles on him in those days. I was sitting in his patio for a long period and he gave me some stunning informations, which I tell that can create a havoc. So I have not recorded it anywhere. I have not put it in the article about the creation of this Amritsar Treaty. Yeah, yeah, please continue.
The British created worst kind of Begar in Kumaon Hills. What
British,
the laborers in the Kumaon peasantry in the Kumaon Hills had to carry food, had to carry vegetables, had to carry grocery from their own sources for the British officers who would go up the hills. They created the worst kind of Begar in Bihar, Indigo Begar. And then Begar existed during the rule of Sultan Zainul Abidin also. The Panduchak story you must be knowing. He rebelled against it.
those are very common.
Shahmiri, it was in Shahmiri Sultans, it was in Mughal, worse in Afghan rule. The Afghans would carry Kashmiri laborers right from Srinagar to Kabul and back and pay them nothing. So Begar is not a creation of Dogra rulers. Begar exists in Kashmir in the period of Shankar Varman also. In the period of Avanti Varman also there was Begar. Begar exists in Kashmir. It's as old as the history of Kashmir. If you go back, so
Begar, I mean,
Begar,
it is a history of monarchy. In all the monarchies, Begar kind of a thing happened. And people were given the meals and food, and they were asked to work for a fort or a
but only linking the entire Begar with Dogar rulers
not Dogras. Put
suppresses
it,
all
blame it on Dogras.
suppresses all the good work they did, because you must know that Dogras created printing press for us. They created roads, they created
Yes,
buildings,
as
they
well.
created railways, the
All this.
airports, schools, colleges, hospitals, courts.
Law
Fisheries
structures.
department, sericulture, the biggest silk factory was created by Dogras. The drinking water they gave us. The Raman Bridge, the Kohala Bridge, the Amar Singh Technical Institution in Jammu and Srinagar, the Gulmarg, Pahalgam they developed, the houseboats they brought to Kashmir, the boulevard around Dal Lake, Dogra Station, Dachigam, so many match factories, rosin and turpine factory. So you can't say that Begar was only created by Dogras and you then overlook the all good work they did. That is in this essay.
That's true. That's true. Uh, let's come back to the other essays. Can we have a another tour of the essays around? Can we talk about
Yes,
Ghalib again? Yeah.
Galib, I'll come back to Galib.
Gopichand Narang, who was an expert on Ghalib,
Yes,
he
yes,
has
yes,
said
yes.
that he was smitten by Bedil, the great author Bedil, and Bedil was a kind of a Vedanta. He was a very great scholar of Vedanta, and
Not
he got
Vedanta, also Yog Vasishtha also.
Yog
Bedil,
Vasishtha.
Yog Vasisht also he was a lover of Yog Vasisht. See, I have read a good amount of Ghalib's poetry. I was surprised to find
Favorite one.
the,
Yeah.
the message of Upanishads in Ghalib's poetry. The message of Upanishads, the Brahman, what you call in Upanishads, what is Brahman? The ultimate reality, the Atman,
Brahma.
the soul.
Brahma.
Ah, the rebirth, the karma, the jnana, shanti, maya, satya, samsara, and brahmanda. These vast concepts are covered by Ghalib. Maybe in Urdu, maybe in, but the underlying story is the same. Say, for example, Ghalib, I will quote one couplet of Ghalib.
Hmm.
जब कि तुम बिन कोई नहीं मौजूद
फिर यह
फिर ये
हंगामा है खुदा
हंगामा
क्या
है
है?
खुदा क्या है when
हंगामा है
only you
खुदा
exist what is this noise all around then
हंगामा
you
है
only
खुदा
exist Shweta Shwatra Upanishad is there.
दिस
Shweta
इज दिस
Shwatra Upanishad.
दिस इज अ वंडरफुल लाइन सर वंडरफुल कॉपलेट ऑफ गालिब जबकि तुझ बिन कुछ नहीं मौजूद फिर यह हंगामा है खुदा क्या है
खुदा क्या
तुझ
है?
बिन कुछ नहीं मौजूद मतलब यू आर इनटू
When,
एवरी
when, when nothing here exists without you,
या
then wherefore all this tumult, O Lord?
दैट इज द
This is how
concept
I translate it.
दैट इज द concept of sanatan
Now see what the Shweta Shweta Upanishad says. God, truth alone exists as a substratum, and this entire world is merely an appearance. It stands immutable and alone in all high glory and divinity as pure existence, consciousness pervading the entire universe. This is a message of Vedanta. जब कि तुम बिन कोई नहीं मौजूद. And then
हर जुज में तुम यू आर
there's a
एवरी पार्टिकल एवरीथिंग अराउंड
सब्ज व गुल कहाँ से आए हैं?
सब जो कुल कहाँ से आए हैं
अब्र क्या
और
चीज है? हवा क्या है?
हवा क्या
This is a Ghalib's inquiry. This is Ghalib's inquiry
है
to unknown.
emerged
Where from have these flowers and greenery emerged? What are these clouds all about? What is the secret of the air? He's asking. He's asking. This knowledge, this questioning is the essence of Vedanta. It is the essence of Upanishads.
inquisitivity
Yes. And then I will quote one more. हम वहाँ हैं. A state of Turiya.
जहाँ भी
This is state of Turiya, a
Surya,
state of consciousness.
that
Yes,
is fourth
state.
state of fourth
हाँ,
state
तो
of consciousness
गालिब सेज हम वहाँ हैं जहाँ से हमको भी कुछ हमारी खबर नहीं
हमारी
आती
खबर
नहीं
नहीं
आती.
आती
I am at that stage from where even I get no news of my own self.
वो सर दैट इज अवतार जी दैट इज एक्चुअली जागृत अवस्था स्वप्न अवस्था और क्या थर्ड अवस्था आई फॉरगॉटन द नेम फोर्थ अवस्था इज तुरिया फोर्थ अवस्था
Yes,
इज तुरिया वेयर यू आर अनअवेयर ऑफ वेयर यू आर येट यू आर
this is the exact message of Mandukya Upanishad. He says same thing. And then Ghalib's couplet is हस्ती के मत फरेब में आ जाइयो असद आलम तमाम हल्का दामे ख्याल है. This is Ghalib's. Get not trapped by the deception of this existence, O Asad. This visible world in its entirety belongs to the realm of imagination only. I, I, will, I will quote what Adi Shankara has said. Brahman Satyam Jagat Mithya. Jivo Brahmevya Napraha. Brahman, the ultimate unchanging reality, is the only truth. The world is not real.
That
And
is
in the end,
yeah.
there is no difference between Brahman and the individual self, Atman. This is this is Vedanta. So Galib is on the same platform, on the same page they are. Then then there is a couplet of Galib. जब तवक्को ही उठ गई गालिब
जब
क्यों किसी
तवक्को
से गिला करे कोई
खिला करे that's beautiful.
when all expectations are shed Ghalib, what for and why should one have any complaint against any other? Expectation is a creation of attachment.
Bonding.
So, bonding. So, Upanishad say that limit your bonding. Bonding creates the sorrow. Limit your bonding. Ghalib says when jab tawakko hi uth gayi Ghalib, when indirectly bonding is over, so there is no complaint. This is there are so many things that but
There is
Ghalib
one comment I will quote because I'm also a Ghalib fan. होता है निहा गर्द में सहरा मेरे होते होता है निहा गर्द में सहरा मेरे होते गिसता है जबी खाक पे दरिया मेरे आगे. So this is a
बिल्कुल
state of aham brahmosi. Aham
ठीक
brahmosi. Yourself is enlarged to that level that you feel that you are the Brahm. Your
और
ego.
और नहीं और देयर इज वन मोर कपलेट गाल रंज उठने से भी खुशी होगी इवन इन सॉरो यू विल हैव हैप्पीनेस
That is a state
रंज
of moderation.
यस रंज उठने से भी खुशी होगी पहले दिल दर्द आशना कीजिए in sorrow also you will find contentment that you acquaint your heart with throbbing compassion first you must have compassion this is compassion is the message of this Upanishads so the Upanishads have enormous lovers the world over. The philosopher Schopenhauer, Arthur Schopenhauer, was the first lover of Upanishads. You have Max Muller, you have Kamen, you have Akbar, Emperor Akbar. Emperor Akbar was a lover of Upanishads. Bedil and Dara Shikoh.
He was a scholar of Upanishads. He became a
Yes,
scholar of Upanishads.
scholar of Upanishads, Dara Shikoh, and the Persian Farsi poet Sohrab Sepehri.
Kashinath Pandita in his talk said that professor of his, the doctorate professor, his guide
Yes,
from Iran,
yes,
what
yes,
was
yes.
his name?
He was.
Huh?
Yes, yes.
He told him that you are from the land of Bedil and Upanishad and you don't want to work on the tasawwuf.
Yes,
This
yes.
spiritual science. You're from that land. How can you deny? Yeah.
ये T.S. Eliot, the physicist Niels Bohr was a lover of Upanishads, and Albert Camus.
Albert
The French Upanishads were translated into Persian by Akbar, and then by this Akbar, first Akbar, and then Dara Shikoh. From
Dara Shikoh,
from
his brother.
from Persian, they were translated to French. Camus' daughter, Catherine Camus, writes that in his wardrobe there used to be a French translation of Upanishads, especially Katha Upanishad. He was a lover of Camus was also a lover of Upanishad because if you read his novels, his books, his characters also display truthfulness and other attributes that are in the message of Upanishads.
Even for that matter, Albert Einstein's many references, it may not be directly Upanishads, he goes to the Oriental scriptures, he quotes them again and again, many times.
And I will tell you one thing: in Upanishads, they are not dictum. You don't find any dictum in them. It's a dialogue. It's a dialogue. You may agree, you may not agree. You read it, listen it. You may agree, you may not agree. There is no force. It's not dictum. You may say, for example, Katha Upanishad. You have a dialogue between Yama, the Lord of Death, and Nachiketa. Entire philosophy of life is conveyed to Nachiketa by Lord of Death. There is no dictum. It's not forced for you to follow it.
It's not a linear. It's not a linear.
Yes.
It is exponential. Yeah, like that. So, I mean, let's Begar. Did we complete Begar chapter? Completed?
Yes.
And we talked about. Let's talk about these the chapters to talk about accession. There are Maqbul Sherwani and other stories. Kashinath Panta had also come. Kashinath Panta once gave a complete lecture on this because he was there at the border at that time. I gave another view of what he experienced during this Kabali raid. But you have your story of Kabali raid, your story of 1947, something to say.
Yes. Kabali Raid. Kabali Raid is Zar, Sevar, and Zanan. They only wanted this thing from Baramulla. They played havoc. Kabalis. They played havoc. Much of it has been suppressed for I don't know for what reasons, but and then they had no dearth of people who would guide them for the road to Srinagar. Maqbul Sherwani was certainly secular. He was certainly a hardliner believer in Hindu-Muslim ekta, Hindu-Muslim solidarity. He was certainly a staunch follower of Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah till his day of death. He did not deviate from it. He tried to save many Pandits in Baramulla, but generally said that he was caught because from him they wanted a road to Srinagar. They had no dearth of people who could guide them for road to Srinagar. Because almost everybody in Baramulla, the Deputy Commissioner of Baramulla welcomed tribal raiders. They may people of standing in Baramulla town had a meeting with the commander of tribal raiders. So people immediately sided with the tribal raiders. Maqbul Sherwani actually was caught and killed. He stood fast. He remained steadfast in his convictions, and he paid the price for it. But saying that the tribal raiders wanted he was killed because he misguided them. That is not the correct. They wanted to catch him to show him the residence of Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah because they had instructions to bring Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah in any manner because Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah for them was a block. He was creating resistance in Pakistan's capturing of Kashmir. So that's non-stop. They played. They killed so many people. Many people jumped into the river. The rapes they committed. The Baramulla DC office was used as a raping center. It's horrible stories. Horrible stories. Much of these stories have not been told. They have not come on the public domain. Some of the stories I have put in. But my friend Ramesh Tamiri is bringing a book on, especially on tribal raids and about the untold stories that's likely to come in the market very shortly. That will be more revealing than this. I have covered it in small essay that what they looted, how they looted, where they went, why there was a delay in Srinagar, and we have not Captain Somnath, his contribution. Brigadier Rajinder Singh, his contribution.
Rajinder Singh's contribution was
Yes,
great, no doubt.
Rajinder Singh's contribution. He sacrificed, how he fought, how he held them, stopped them for 2 days, and how that saved Srinagar city. It was not underplayed.
Even it is said that Maharaja himself wanted to go to the war front.
Yes,
This is a long story. People say that
because
wanted to go to the war front. Rajinder Singh stopped.
yes, because when in presence of VP Menon, Maharaja on 25th October decided to leave. He was asked to leave. That they will catch you. They will catch you. The Maharaja on 25th October 1947, he dressed like in battle dress. He was in battle dress, and he told Brigadier Rajinder Singh that he wants to go to border and fight like a true Kshatriya. He wants to sacrifice his life and fighting. And then you create stories that Maharaja ran away at night. He was timid. He ran away at night.
There is one more thing, one more anecdote I would like to share, Avtarji, since it's an interactive session. General Manik Shah. General Manik Shah, he was a young officer in those times, and during accession, he played a role. And they were sitting. Janik Balak Shah was sitting, and this one VP Menon was sitting. Maharaja, Nehru was sitting. Lord Mountbatten was sitting, and Patel was sitting. So there was a discussion held, and Nehru was talking philosophies and everything and great thing. Manik Shah was a practical soldier. He said, "Sir, I want some orders. Please let me know what's my alignment, how I have to move around." And then Patel intervened. He asked Nehru, "Jawahar, you want Kashmir or not?" So Nehru says, "Yes, Kashmir is ours." Then Patel even didn't ask Nehru. he simply told Manik Shah, this Manik Shah's interview, he said, go ahead, you got the permission for that.
No, but when on 26th October morning, when Meher Chand Mahajan went to
Yes, sir.
Jawaharlal Nehru with the instrument of accession that was signed in Jammu, that was signed in Jammu. Original draft was signed in Srinagar. Then the Nehru and Patel did not approve that. Then VP Menon came to Jammu. Maharaja on 25th night, Maharaja came to Jammu. VP Menon came to Jammu. He got the next amended draft signed from Maharaja. And at that time, Meher Chand Mahajan was sent to Jawaharlal Nehru. When he went to Nehru, Nehru rebuked him. I don't know exactly what actually transferred, but Nehru rebuked him. So he said, okay, if you don't help us, then I'm going to Jinnah with this. Then Sheikh Abdullah was sitting in the same in Nehru's house in Delhi. He was already there. He sent a slip to Jawaharlal Nehru, and that softened Nehru, softened his approach, and that slip played, and army was sent on that slip only. That pivotal role. This book also contains
Just
interaction with.
I would like to ask you talk about Buddhism in Kashmir and something. I want to know, apart from the Hyun story and the Ashoka story we know about the Buddhism. I mean, if we go to BCE, 500 BCE, where from this whole Buddhism began. So, what more has your article to explain and divulge into?
My article has to explain many things. Firstly, I would read what Dr. Lokesh Chandra, eminent scholar of
Yes, Lokesh Chandra.
Buddhism, who has written around 500 books, what he writes about Kashmiris and their contribution in Buddhism. I'll read it.
Okay.
The Kashmiri Pandits were not only gifted, but they were also equally adventurous. This is verbatim what he has written. Their adventurous spirit drove them towards Central Asia, Tibet, China, Korea, Japan, and Philippines for the dissemination of Indian culture, art, and philosophy. In Japan, the Lotus Sutra is considered to be the greatest and the most popular sutras of Buddhism today. This sutra was translated into Chinese in the 4th century by Kumarajiva, who was a Kashmiri. A Kashmiri Pandit named, yes, a Kashmiri Pandit named Kamal Shila was the royal craftsman of the Mongols. Kashmiri Pandits brought the Shilp Shastras, or canons of creation, with them, for which they were given free access to the Mongolian court. In AD 781, Prajana arrived in Canton and worked in the Changan till AD 785. He was born in Kashmir in AD 744. In AD 790 and 92, he visited Central Asia. On return, he resided in the Loyang till his death in AD 810. In AD 806, he taught Sanskrit, Indian Buddhism, and Nagari calligraphy to Kobo Daishi, the greatest personality in the cultural history of Japan. Mongols speak of high Kashmiri beauty to this day. During my visit to Ulaanbaatar, this is Lokesh Chandra writing during his visit. During my visit to Ulaanbaatar in 1957, Madam Indri, the wife of the then Deputy Prime Minister, narrated how the Mongols speak of her son. He is as handsome as a Kashmiri. Evidently reminiscing the 13th century when bhikshus from Kashmir who manned imperial Mongol court and monasteries in Iran and elsewhere. A number of Kashmiri Pandits went to Korea. Tyagbhadra, a Kashmiri, and his disciples were responsible there for the choice of the present capital of South Korea, that is Seoul. And you have the story of Navivahara, how Kashmiris were there, Parmukhs, when the Arabs came, how they were taken to Iraq for translation. And the in Bamiyan monastery, you had many Kashmiris as Parmukhs.
That's true. That's true. I mean, he is a researcher and he is founded, but these things are already established. I don't think there is a belief against this thing that Kashmiri Pandits didn't have the role. Avtarji, I want to add one more thing. I mean, when we divulged before, even during time of Ashoka the Great, the Vatavriksha, the source, that was Sanatan. They were all the branches. They were even Kashmir. Buddha was considered to be Tarnation of Vishnu.
Yes.
I mean, the Shivism and Vishnuism, they were the branches of the same main trunk.
Yes.
How it was. So we differentiate now. We say that it's another religion. It's part of this conglomerate.
Yes. Then I will let you know that there is a belief And a reference is made by Kalhana also in Rajasthan that Nagarjuna, who was the founder of the Madhyamika school of Buddhism, he was a Kashmiri. He
Yes.
lived in Kashmir.
They were all
Even
Kashmiri.
R.C. Even R.C. Kak has identified where he lived. His house also excavations he has identified that he lived in this house. I will quote the particular verse from Rajtarangni, and a bodhisattva was in this country, the sole supreme ruler of the land. He was illustrious Nagarjuna who dwelt in Sadarvahana. Sadarvahana is Harvan. So Kalhana also makes a reference that Nagarjuna belonged to Kashmir. It is generally believed that he belonged to South. Somebody has to do research on it. Somebody has to do research and find out that how much Kashmiris have contributed to the Buddhist thought in shaping the Buddhist thought. Then the discovery of Gilgit manuscripts, the Harvan terracotta tiles, the Mangnag wall paintings, so many things you find Kashmiri hand here. Kashmiri paintings, Kashmiri style, Kashmiri iconography, Kashmiri sculpture. So in the Himalayan hills also, whatever monasteries you find in Western Himalayas, you find the influence of Kashmiri. So
There were Alchi,
Kashmiris,
Alchi monasteries and every these
Alchi,
places
Alchi is a surviving monastery where you find
survived.
Kashmiri influence. Kashmiri influence.
That's true.
There is the last essay in my book, Ajavika tribe, something unique. Ajavika,
Before
uh,
that, Udarji, I'll just interrupt here. I'll make it more slightly interesting. My coffee is getting cold.
yes,
I'm
yes, you
so much
can.
engrossed with you. I can't ask my wife on a live show to get a coffee and I mean get it hot again. So I'm leaving the cold coffee there. I will just have a slightly because I want to tell all the people here that Avtarji is an extensive traveler, and his research wherever he goes, whether for the domestic work or for anything else or visiting his children, there's an inquisitive eye, inquisitive heart, where he wants to explore this human civilization and its dimensions, history, art. He goes to the museums, he goes to the libraries, he meets the professors, he interacts with them, he takes our literature. And I remember in one talk he said that I took the poetry of Dinanath Nadim and
Nadir
somebody
Saab
in
and
some
some poets are.
Oxford University,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
then they rejected one and they said Nadim Saab, it is something. This is a new thought.
Yes, Unal.
This,
Unal was the poem. Nadim Saab's poem, Unal, that I
so
hurriedly translated into English.
Avtarji, will just a quick tour. We talked about three books. Just a minute. I'll just go. I want to just for the sake of our audience and the future audience because this goes to the archives. So this is the book we talked about, the Tulips and the Snowstorm. And then
Yes,
we talked about Otaji's Landscape and Lament.
yes.
We didn't have a detailed discussion, but we talked about it. It's a wonderful book. It's a lot of labor, lot of hard work, lot of hard work. And it is only heart, head, and a pen, I think. And then this is the books you missed, and he is catapulting all of us to come to the real, I mean, good part of literature, which is existing, prevailing. The books which are being written nowadays. It includes Agni Shekharji. It includes, I mean, the people like Pran Kishore and other people, Jagannath Azad and all. I'm going to have one topic, one show on the Jagannath Azad as well, maybe on this book. And then the essays that we are talking about may change your belief. So let's have a tour where he went to the America and he explored many things. अवतार जी बताइए इसके बारे में. Tell us
This
something
is
about
Einstein's house. I'm outside Einstein's house
Albert Einstein.
in the
Oh,
Princeton.
wonderful.
Yes, close to the within the premises of the Princeton University. This
Oh,
is Albert Einstein's house.
that's so wonderful. You saw it from inside, and it was a museum.
Yes, 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 yes. I
Okay.
saw it. Mercer Street is the name of the road. It's located. I'm donating a book on Bhagavad Gita, a commentary on Bhagavad Gita by Vinoba Bhave to Firestone Library of the Princeton University.
Gita
This is
Upadesh.
the photograph.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Commentary on Bhagavad Gita
Commentary. I got another
by
book. I bought
Vinoba Bhave. Vinoba Bhave, yes.
Vinoba Bhave's commentary. I bought another book recently. I was in Hyderabad. I bought a book of Vinoba Bhave on Gita, the commentary of Vinoba Bhave on Gita. That was another subject. So what? Where is
This is
this?
outside the Rubin Museum of Art, New York.
Okay. And what? Tell us something about this museum.
This is a museum, wonderful museum, but created. It has Himalayan art. It has many art, some artifacts from Kashmir also. I would like to add that in every museum the world over, as I have been telling every time you find Kashmiri sculptures, Kashmiri paintings, Kashmiri manuscripts spread all over the globe, all over the globe. Whatever exists with us in Kashmir, in J&K, in India, that's only 40%. 60% of the Kashmiri artifacts, Kashmiri sculptures, Kashmiri manuscripts, Kashmiri paintings, they are outside in museums the world over.
And unfortunately, we don't have any signs on the ground, but our world museums are filled with, brimmed with our
Yes, yes, yes.
artifacts. That's a dichotomy of our time. And where is it?
This is the Modern Museum of Art in New York. The Museum of MoMA, it's known as MoMA. Most of the modern artists, mostly every modern artist is covered. Rakib Shah, our great young artist from our state, Kashmir, he
Calcutta
exhibited his
Museum.
art in this MoMA. This is a premier center for exhibiting modern art the world over. Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, it's known as. You have every modern artist on display over here. I visited this art twice, thrice. I visited this place.
You saw you saw the works of Rakib Shah?
Yes. No, that time it was not display, but there was an inventory of people, artists who were displayed in that. Rakib Shah was displayed.
Rakib Shah was,
Rakib Shah.
he was a
He's a
Calcutta born.
Kashmiri
Calcutta.
born, belongs to a business family of Kashmir,
Calcutta.
reputed business family of Kashmir, yes. And his paintings are earning more price than such Raza's paintings.
There's Raza's painting. Yes, I have heard about that.
Millions of dollars.
We'll bring
They,
him someday. I know it's because he's become costlier, but still we'll try to just catch hold of him
very,
someday.
very excellent, excellent painting. This is Hudson River bank. Evening
Uh-huh.
time walk along the Hudson. This Hudson River across you find the old World Trade Center.
They have maintained their water bodies. Great. You
Yes,
see, I feel very sad to see the condition of Weth, but this is a beautiful, the wonderful portrayal of the photograph. There is there are skyscrapers around, and the water seems to be quite gushing and clean. And then finally, you are here. What place is this?
oh, this is my favorite place. Must have visited this place 10 times. This is the Metropolitan Museum of Art, New York. It has on its first floor, separate Kashmir section where you find sculptures and art of Kashmir. You
Okay.
find the diamond necklace of Queen Dida. You find goddess Sharda over
Necklace of
here. You find,
necklace of
yes,
Queen Dida.
yes,
Arey,
yes, yes,
that's
yes,
so
yes.
wonderful, so wonderful. Oh, so amazing. Uh, so, so we finished that tour. I would like to come back to you have talked about in one of your chapter. You have talked about the confluence of Indus and Vitasta, Shadipur, which is a great pilgrimage
Yes,
of Kashmiris,
yes, yes,
and it has a great mentions in the in our scriptures, ancient and the
yes.
modern and medieval scriptures. Tell us something about that.
Shadipura finds mention in, firstly, Vitasta finds mention in Mahabharata.
That's
we
so.
must we must be proud that our river Vitasta finds mention in Mahabharata.
Because I think
Ma-
it must have been as old as 5,000 years from now,
it
more than
is
that.
very old river.
Because
Shadi
Yashomati she was coronated, a lot of pilgrims,
Shadipur
right? It was yeah.
Shadipura is a place where Vitasta meets Sindhu Nala, not the Indus River, but Sindhu
Sindhu
Nala
Valley.
that
They're not industry.
Sin-
One
not Indus River. Sindhu
tributary.
Nala, Sindhu tribute, not tributary exactly. It comes from the country of Darj. It comes from Gure side.
Yeah, different.
Ultimately joins, passes through Kangan, passes through, and then
Dola.
joins a little below Tulamula. It joins the river Vitasta. So
It's
this
like
is a place, sacred place. You have a chinar tree at the point of confluence. It is considered to be a very sacred tree. People would go to perform shraddhas, annual shraddha, immerse the uh, this
I've gone there in my
main.
childhood. I remember still. Beautiful place. Huge
Yes, yes,
water.
yes.
Waters. Yeah.
It is said that even if there are floods in the river, the chinar level of the chinar tree at Sangam remains same. It doesn't sink. It doesn't drown in the water. It remains
Oh,
same. There's a small Shiva temple across that. There's a Naran Bagh. So since times immemorial, people used to go to perform tirtha, perform shada, immerse the remains of their ancestors. They
I remember. I know. I know.
at
And there
that
is
place.
not only Shraddha, there only Shraddhas. Yeah, probably there is something, some festival in childhood. I remember we used to go. I don't know, there was some, but it was a huge water, huge.
The Shar, that is, it comes after many years. The Shar,
Yes,
75
yes.
years it comes once. Some years back it was there. The Shar, it a huge festival is held, Mahakumbh type of held. We call it
Mahakumbh.
Prayag. We call it Prayag.
Prayag, Prayag.
Yes. Generally, we used to go to consign ashes and mortal remains of our ancestors at this place. So all our ancestors, every Kashmiri is directly linked with this Prayag because
Prayag.
all our ancestors are there. They are in the Prayag stream.
Let's talk something about. We know about the freedom fighters of Kashmiri. Yes, a ready tour of freedom fighter of Kashmir, Kashmiri freedom fighters of India.
I think I think I think I have already we have discussed it. Nehru
We had a
family have discussed. Tej Bahadur Sapru have discussed. Kailashnath Kharju have discussed.
Saifuddin Khichli, Saifuddin Khichli.
Hedinath Kundru have discussed. Zitsi sisters, three sisters from Lahore. They were Kashmiris. Shama, Manmoni, and
Shama
Janak
was an
Rani.
actress also.
Shama was actress. Then she left the acting and joined lock, stock, and barrel in the freedom struggle of the country. When one night their mother and all the three sisters, they heard four sisters. Actually, one was Chandra Kumari. Yes, her name was Chandra Kumari. Was a housewife. All the four sisters, all the three other sisters jumped lock, stock, and barrel into the freedom struggle of the country. They were related to Jawaharlal Nehru also. They were
Yeah,
related to Jawahar. They were related to Jawaharlal Nehru. Shama left film industry. She joined this. Manmoni, she was teaching. She also joined Raj Kumari, the third sister, Raj Kumari or Janak Rani. Sorry, Janak Rani was a lecturer in Lahore College. She resigned from that job, and they were the first ladies to unfurl national flag on Ravi when Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru addressed huge gathering there in 1930, sometime around 1930. All the freedom fighters assembled there. There was a huge gathering on the banks of the Ravi in 1930. These three sisters were there, and then I would specifically tell about a great person, Dr. Saifuddin Kishlu, who has
Dr. Saifuddin Khichli, yeah.
doctor who has not been dealt fairly by the history and the
All
historians. I don't
historians.
know why. All along his life, he remained a fervent freedom fighter, nationalist,
And a
down to
loner at
earth
the
national, and the person who created first strings of friendship with Russia. I don't know why he was sidelined. Probably.
I don't know,
See,
maybe.
see what he has said when the Congress accepted the resolution of partition of the country. See what he has said, and
Dr. Saifuddin.
this every sentence of what he has said is truth. The story of humanity is never a story of religion alone. Our
No.
history is full of details as to how assertive religious identities have brought gloom and misfortune for human beings. I oppose the very idea of partition as it is neither in the interests of Muslims nor Hindus. It can only be delivered with the blood of millions of Indians and mad violence. It is against the idea of lasting peace in the subcontinent and Asia. Generations of Indians will pay the price for this blunder on our part. A wall of institutionalized hatred can never deliver peace and stability. I am surprised that my friends in the Congress have opted favorably for this resolution. When Congress accepted partition resolution, I can only feel sad and lonely in case you surrender nationalism to communalism.
Ah,
This is what,
such a
and
great
every
man.
word has proved prophetic. And his house was attacked by hooligans in 1947. Mad violence. His house in Amritsar was attacked by hooligans. He never claimed that house. See the character of the man. He never claimed that house,
Very, very high
and
step.
wrote to the deputy commissioner of Amritsar that my house should be given to a Hindu refugee who is coming from Lahore or Punjab.
Arre.
I don't want this house.
Such a rational or balanced man. Great man. Great freedom hero, and nobody knows. He's
And
not
he doesn't find mention in our history books.
tragic. This is tragic.
Saifuddin Kichlu.
He was a Kashmiri descent from third generation,
He
probably.
was a Kashmiri descent from third generation. He was from Baramulla. He was a Kashmiri.
Like Iqbal was, it was
Yes,
almost
yes.
similar.
Then you have Hangal also. You have Mir
एक ही
Abdul
हंगर
Majid.
एक ही
Mir
हंगर
Abdul
से
Majid. Nobody knows Mir Abdul Majid,
मीर
the
अब्दुल
founder of
मजीद,
the
yes, yes.
Communist Party of India. He was in Russia. First quarter of 20th century, he went to Russia, where Communist Party of India was founded. He was present there. He was a Kashmiri, Mir Abdul Majid. Nobody knows him. Nobody in Kashmir knows that Mir
Answer,
Abdul Majid was a
answer.
Kashmiri. Nobody knows Saifuddin Kichlu, what he said, what he believed. And finally, he was sidelined and he was awarded Soviet award by the Russians. He was the person who built the initial strings of friendship between Russia and India, and never highlighted his role, never highlighted, played behind the scene silently, donated everything to the national cause. Then you have Kashyap Bandhu and so many other people.
Kashyap Bandhu has a great role, played a great role. On the
Yes,
surface, I mean, he appears so simple at the
Kashyap
surface, but
Bandhu, Kashyap
complex.
Bandhu also never presented himself, never presented, never talked about his personality. And I'll tell you, Kashyap Bandhu has worked with Sardar Bhagat Singh.
Arey, my goodness.
Kashyap Bandhu has worked with Sardar Bhagat Singh. Kashyap Bandhu is the person who founded the exploited laborers, Kashmiri Muslim laborers in Punjab, who were exploited.
Yes, they
Who
were
were,
exploited.
he founded their union. He met Dr. Allama Iqbal.
Iqbal,
He told him, you form their union. See, call Motilal Nehru. He called the first convention of Kashmiri Labor Board in Punjab was addressed by Motilal Nehru. It was all behind the scene efforts of Kashyap Bandhu.
Kashyap Bandhu was an interlocutor. He was the connector, and he had the pain. He had the
And then
pain,
finally he came to Kashmir. He came to Kashmir.
and then the rest is the history.
Rest is the history.
Sad history. You would talk about some film personalities quickly. We go to film actually. Karju, we all know about Karju. We know
Film
about
personalities who must be knowing every
a bit of reminder because everybody likes
uh,
film
uh,
stories, movie stories.
film personalities. I can say that not in Kashmiris speaking, but even Punjabis who resided in Kashmir, who became state subjects, they contributed enormously to film industry. Say Ramanand Sagar, Balrai Sani. Balrai
Even
Sani,
Kashmir.
Balrai Sani had a special love for Kashmir.
His
It
daughter
will
was
be a
supposed to
station.
come. His daughter was planned to come on the show, but I got
हाँ,
lost in connection. So
especially Gulmarg, especially Boulevard swimming. He would, whenever he would come to Srinagar, he would go to Gulmarg. He would distribute money there, and it is only
Vidhu Vinod
Balrai
Chopra is
Sahni,
there in Kashmiri. Vidhu Vinod Chopra
who
is
it is only Balrai Sahni who pressurized Sadiq Saab when he was chief minister of the J&K state to make a film on this Majur.
there.
When the funds were exhausted, Pran Kishore Koul Saab told me that when the funds were exhausted, he gave some money from his pocket. You must complete this film on Majur. Balraj Sani's initiative. He brought his son back, Parikshat Sani, from Russia. He was studying in Russia. You have to act in this film. You have to play the role of Majur. Vidhu Vinod Chopra, Arun Koul, Sonia Sani, they belong to Kashmir. M.K. Raina, K.K. Raina, Omkar Ahmad, Tariq
They are
Shah.
the contemporaries. Omkar Raina was my father's closest friend. He was close friend. They were in
हाँ,
class. Yeah.
Mani Koul, Shamaji Sahib talked. Yashodhara Karju was another Kashmiri.
Mahesh
Chandra
Kaul.
Mohan Vatal.
Chandramohan Vatal.
Yashod
He was
Chandra
a
Mohan
superstar.
Vatal. हाँ.
Superstar. Yeah.
Actually, Shama Zitshi was told by Chandra Mohan Vatal, why you Kashmiri girls are joining films? This is not a field for Kashmiri girls. Half of her leaving films is because of Chandra Mohan Vatal every day after her. Ki you should leave this film industry. This is not meant for Kashmiri girls. She has said that he was after my blood, that you should leave this film, leave these films. Partly she listened to the Mahatma Gandhi's call, but before that, Chandramohan Vatal was after her that you should leave these films. Ulhas, Rajan Haksar, Prem Adib, D.K.
Rajan Akhtar
Sapru,
is coming to come. He's scheduled to come to my show.
Jeevan, you have Jawahar Koul, you have Rajkumar, A.K. Hangal, Anupam Kher, then Om Shivpuri, Satish Koul, Kiran Kumar, the latest Kunal Kemu, and so many people, so many people.
so many unsung people also. Lalit Parmu is there, other people are there.
So many people, so many people. It will be a full session if I start discussing them.
Mahesh Koul was a great filmmaker. Mahesh
Yes,
Koul.
yes, yes.
He was a,
I would, before we conclude, I would like to say something. One of the interesting chapters of this book is interaction with some immigrants in New York, in
yes,
America.
that's why I wanted to ask. Yeah, yes. That tribe you were talking about. You were talking
I,
about a
I,
tribe.
I have talked to the people on the footpath, people in the trams, people in the buses, people sitting on the beaches, immigrants. Every immigrant, he nurses a desire to be connected with his roots. He may say anything. America is a good country. He may speak English. When you poke, pester, and prick a little, it emerges that he wants to come back to India. He wants to be connected with his roots. He wants to take his children back to India to study. He is not happy with the cultural moorings of the country. He is not
Random.
happy.
He wants to come
Yeah,
back.
he is not happy. I talked to so many people homeless. You will be surprised to know that I befriended a Turkish fruit seller in Manhattan. He became a very good friend. And on a Shada day, I told him that you must keep some fresh fruits for me because we are having Shada. My mother, we can't have a Panditji over here. I want to cut it short. We'll donate some. He said, "What is Shada?" Then I told him like this: it is to earn sawab, like Muslims do. We remember our ancestors on that day. He was so much impressed, the Turkish fruit seller, that he told me on your mother Shada day, all fruit will grow from a pocket. You will not buy anything. It is such a human beings are same. Human beings are same.
Human
Nature
temperament.
are same. Same.
I remember way back in 1989, I was a very young lad. I was traveling to Goa. I met a very wonderful writer. He became my friend. We drank beer together. He had written tales about this thing, and he said that human temperament, because his wife was from Iran. Human temperament, whether it is Iran, whether it is England, whether it is Africa, it's basically the same. There's no difference at all. If you
Basic.
go deeper
Human.
into it, the same traits, same jealousies, same competitive spirit, same loneliness, same
No,
like
if you
this.
are sincere, if you are truthful, people respond truthfully since they respond sincerely. Otherwise, what connection a Turkish food seller had with my mother that he told me that he will distribute these all fruits on that Shada day. He will not take money. Take money. I told him, where will you give? He said that people are sitting on the footpath. The homeless people, they will have it. You need not to worry about it. So, these type of interactions I had many. You will find these interactions in this book.
You are coming. This is coming in the shape of a book now. You
Yes,
are
it
writing.
is in the book, the last essay. Now I
Acha,
am writing a book on American travelogue.
travel.
American travelogue will be a separate detailed book that will be very interesting. I am quoting as they said to me in their language, verbatim how they speak English, how they say it. It will become you
Slang.
feel as if you are talking to them. You are walking on the footpaths of America. You are talking to them.
You had been to this place also, na? Eastern part, the Thailand and other places also.
Yes,
You have
yes, yes. Bali, Indonesia, Bali. Yes, yes.
Bali, and you have taken many pictures. I remember one lecture we had. We had some discussion about, those people, the symbols of our dances, our posturing, and other
Yes, same
things.
thing.
Just
Same thing. So you have find Nati Shastra influence all over the Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Cambodia, Bali. Everywhere you find Indian Nati Shastra influence in sculptures, Indian influence. Ramayana and Mahabharata, in the Indonesian, they are national theaters of Indonesia.
there was some problem. It suddenly went off. I don't know. Are you? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, audible, audible, audible.
There was some problem. It got disconnected suddenly. First time it has happened. It has never happened earlier. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we're going to talk about that lost tribe. Can you have a brief? Tell us something about briefly about what this is all about.
It is a Ajavika tribe. Ajavika tribe from the tiles that were discovered in Harvan. A research has been conducted in the US by very learned people. They said these the emaciated people depicted in these tiles, they are Ajavikas, a tribe that lived, that were opposing Buddhism, that were opposing Jainism, they that lived in India, that lived in Bihar, that lived in Maharashtra, ancient times. That
Yes,
tribe lived in Kashmir also. We have now evidence that Jains lived in Kashmir also. The
yes.
Jain, not Buddhism
We have
only,
there
Jainism
is a
also flourished.
but you have a
We-
scripture evidence, or the
no imagery of sculptures, sculptural evidence.
okay, sculptural.
You need to read that essay, how Ajavikas lived, how they lived, and what they did, and their images have been deciphered, they're observed, found out on the tiles that were recovered from Har. It is now believed that Harvan before Buddhism must have been a Ajavika settlement,
Oh,
and then Buddhists came to take over it.
that's
Ajavikas were driven out.
that's something very revealing. Uh, that's unraveling a great history. And what else you want to say about
You
the
can
book?
ask anything.
I can
Anything.
ask.
I would only request people to read the book. This book. This is very
Yeah.
simple book. In fact, my books are available with Rohit Pandita is my pan India distributor. Just a
Okay.
telephone call to him. He will message. He will send the book, courier the book at a very reasonable rate. His mobile number is 9596976373. 9596976373. All my books are available with him. The boy will also earn something. I don't want to earn anything from these books. Let the boy earn something from the books. They are available. He gives a discount. Very cheap books are available.
What's your book scene
We,
nowadays? I mean, how many of the books? All your books are already out of stock, or they are still
many they are available. They are available. They are available. They
paperback?
are available on. They are available on paper. Amazon,
Amazon,
Flipkart, worldwide in India also. Worldwide they are
Kindle,
available.
Kindle also, Kindle.
Kindle, no, Kindle version is not there. They are available with my pan India distributor Rohit Pandita. Is a young boy. He is engaged, busy with this work only. You can just give him a ring. He will ensure that any book is delivered at your doorstep within 2 or 3 days. I have told his mobile number 9596976373.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And one question I want to say for youngsters, I want to say that Avtar Mota, I mean, senior person now. I mean, he is a very popular blogger. And what is it? What is the secret behind becoming a popular blogger? Tell something to the youngsters who are almost everybody's rushing for a blog, but their blogs are stuck between hundreds and 200s and 300s. They don't go into the lakhs.
I will only say whatever you feel, write that. Whatever you feel here in the heart, write that. Don't copy, paste,
Don't
don't write,
emulate.
don't emulate. Whatever you feel, truthfully write it. It will have a reader. It will have a reader.
That's so wonderful. That's so wonderful. This I want Pran Kishore we're going to bring him also one day, but he was not well earlier. And Pran Kishore wrote about this Haba Khatun, a recent book which you came to
Yes,
release in Delhi,
yes, yes.
where Professor that's the person who had come to my Professor Saab who had come to my show also. Shafi Shok had also there, and there were other people as well. Azad Saab was there. Tell me something about that book. I mean, it is again going back to that period of Haba Khatun. It
Yes,
is all,
it's
what is
a,
it all about? What is it all about? Yeah.
it is the life story of Haba Khatun and the
Life.
arrival of Mughals, and how the Chucks defeated Mughals first, and how ultimately Mughals conquered Kashmir, and and then romance between Yusuf Shah Chak and this Haba Khatun. It's
And
a,
what is the departure from the earlier books, earlier stories? What is the
it's
departure?
almost true to the history. Almost true to the history.
Research based. And
Yes.
at the end, there are different versions that he was taken and made a havaldar, then to Bihar and joined the army garrison, and then he died there, and his
He
grave
died
is.
there. That is in the story. That is in the book. That is in the book.
And
His grave is in
There is
Bihar.
another story that Haba Khatun's grave is also there. Is that true, or it is just a
No,
kind?
as per the book, only Yusuf Shah Chak's grave is there because he was wounded in fighting in Odisha
Yeah.
for the Mughal army. So he died of that. Lies buried in the Bihar, and this Habakat died in Srinagar.
Czechs were the
They were set.
original outer periphery Kashmiris. Did they speak Kashmiri, or they were just the
No, no, no.
Anglo-Turkish tribes who settled down over the years, thousands years, something like that? Who were these Czechs? Because we take them as Kashmiris. We
No,
people
they were not Kashmiris. You know Gures area?
Gures,
They
yeah.
belong to the Gures area. They were Dards, a Dard
Dard.
tribe. Dard tribe. Yes, they were Dard
But
tribes.
they were the ancient there. There were time the Pishachi and Dard
Yes,
languages. Yeah,
yes,
very ancient people. Very ancient people. I
yes.
mean, it was a between transition between Kashmir and Gandhara and the northwestern area from those times. If we see, even the Somadevas, with the Katha Sarit Sagar, which has been, I mean, he has compiled. It has come from that. I've forgotten his name. Agnishekhar must be knowing that name. That it was from that basic Pishachi language, and Pishachi and Dar, they are the contemporaries. They are the contemporaries.
Yes,
So
yes,
that kind of a players that the Dardic people were much ancient.
yes, 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 yes. There.
So that's so wonderful, sir. We had a wonderful meet today. कुछ तो कल के लिए छोड़ रखे हैं, सब कुछ आज नहीं हो सकता. Everybody wants to continue and have this interaction, heart-to-heart interaction continue. But I would like to say that somewhere down the line we have to every beginning has an end. So today we are going to close this session, and it is a wonderful
Before close, I would like
I
to
would like
read some.
poetry. Yeah, you are a great poet also. You write dohes.
Uh,
Why
I
not
would
to?
briefly, I will conclude with some dohas
Yeah,
that I have felt, and I will convey.
yeah. Okay.
These are two-liner dohas. First doha is relating to the children, our children, the present age. अब के बच्चे पढ़ लिख कर घर जाते हैं छोड़, फल मंडी में चला गया, अब क्या रिश्ता जोड़. This one doha.
That's so wonderful.
So they are like
Very
fruits.
lucid.
They are
Very
in the
lucid.
market. What is the relation then? They are away from the tree. Second is जीवन खेल सपेरे का बीन से चुप है नाग. This existence, जीवन खेल सपेरे का बीन से चुप है नाग. बीन रुकी तो डंक लगा, चौपट जीवन राग.
Ah.
You have to play
That's
the
so
bean.
beautiful. That's so beautiful. But one thing against this popular belief that they say that 5,000 are prajatis of snakes. They are deaf.
Yes.
But
Then
we
the
think
third
that
is
every snake is listening to the music. Anyway, but it's a beautiful doha. Beautiful.
third doha is फिर सूरज को गाली दे, रात को ताने बोल, फिर
Repeat.
सूरज को गाली दे. The curse the sun. You let you curse sun later on. फिर सूरज को गाली दे, रात को ताने बोल, पहले अपने कमरे की खिड़की को तो खोल.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Then
सूरज तो
another
बहुत
is
दूर की बात है.
then
चांद तो
another is जीभ चले तो रेल है. When the tongue moves, it moves like a train. जीभ चले तो रेल है, पहुंचाए हर धाम.
हाँ.
जीवा जब तक ना चले, माया मिले न राम.
There comes a banker. There comes a banker in this doha.
बेटी कोयल सी घर में उड़कर बोले बोल. The daughter,
बेटी
कोयल सी घर में, when she flies away, moves away from the house, still she keeps coming to the house. How? बेटी कोयल सी घर में उड़कर बोले बोल, बाबा छत पर आओ ना, अम्मा खिड़की खोल. खींचा तानी रिश्तों की, खट्टा मीठा प्यार. इस 64 में कभी कभी जीती बाजी हार. छत के नीचे अलग अलग, बाहर एकम एक. You live separately under the roof, one roof. This is modern life. छत के नीचे अलग अलग, बाहर एकम एक. ऐसे जीवित लाखों हैं, बात न बाहर फेंक. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Tushal Saab. You are saying you are recalling my article on Gandhi, this Ghalib. That was written 10 years ago in Excelsior. And Mota Saab, it was a great delight today, and we never want to end this session, but as they say, every beginning has an end. So क्या करें? अब तो जाके we'll meet again. There will be another beautiful rendezvous. And you are here. When you go to US, we'll have a direct one conversation on you, maybe on your United States course, and many other things. And there are many things we want to have a personality like you, because you are a conglomerate, blessed conglomerate. I mean, gifted conglomerate of so many knowledgeable things around. And you are, I call it octopus, and it's a metaphor. And forgive me for that. but it's a metaphor in the I mean, said in a very true sense. That you can move in any direction, smell any direction. Somewhere down the line, there's a higher consciousness which does all it. Thank you very much. You came. We are very pleasured. We are honored. And best wishes. Good
Thank you.
luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So that was Avtar Mota ji. We had to cut down the introduction of this session, and but it was wonderful because we could not stop working. We had to move on because he had so many things to tell. And let you all read his book, especially the latest one, the essays that may change your belief. It is a very stunning information revelation. There are many things which are already in the history, but then the research is very deep. And then he is especially about the Begar, about the historical events of 1947, about the Kashmiris and the freedom struggle of India. Like Saifuddin Kichli, he talked about the Kichlu Sahab, unsung hero of freedom struggle, a Kashmiri. And then the people like Abdul Majid also. And then he also talked about the film personalities, Kashmiri film personalities. We had a separate show on them, on these particular things, the freedom, Kashmiri's role in the freedom struggle of India, as well as Kashmiris in the film industry. But then again, it is very delight to be with Avtarji. You are always enriched by his experiences, his knowledge, and he's agile, he's moving, and there's a blessing of Saraswati on him. And I think Sitanath conversation will always remain in the pursuit of such interactions, which will enrich all of us. And we don't have any boundaries. It's not limited to our diaspora. It is the literature, music, stories, wisdom. It belongs to the entire planet. It belongs to the humanity. And we have wonderful traditions, ancient traditions in our country and this part of the country. Thank you very much. And I would like to say that I wanted to begin with one thing, that there's a very wonderful saying by Martin Buber. He says that all the journeys have a very secret destination, and the traveler doesn't is not aware of. So all these conversations have a secret destination, which in the hearts of hearts, all of you probably feel, probably touch, and probably achieve during the discourse of this conversation. Thanks very much for respecting, loving, adoring, and being part of these conversations. We are going to have such enriching and wonderful sessions again and again. Next week, we are going to meet again on another wonderful session of scholarship on Sheetalnath Conversations, Renaissance show. But before that, I'm a Ghalib fan, and today there was a subject, one topic which Mota Sahab talked about Ghalib and his role in Upanishads, his connection with the Vedil. And there are Masnavis of Ghalib on Benares. When Ghalib was something ultimate. He talked Aham Brahmosi to the Brahm, to the all states he talks about. That is the Oriental science. He understood. He visited. Uh, it's a very common thing, but it's a beautiful one. It probably gives the state of Aham Brahmosi. We wrongly take it as an ego of Kali. It's not an ego of Kali. It is the state of हम ब्रह्मोस. बाजी चाहे अतफाल है दुनिया मेरे आगे, होता है शब रोज तमाशा मेरे आगे, होता है निहा गर्त, होता है निहा गर्त में सहरा मेरे होते, सहरा इस रेगिस्तान, डेजर्ट, होता है निहा गर्त में सहरा मेरे होते, गिसता है जमी खाक पे दरिया मेरे आगे, ईमा मुझे रोके है, खींचे है मुझे कुफ्र, काबा mere piche hai, Lisa mere aage. So that's so wonderful. With those couplets of Ghalib, I would like to say goodbye. And we thanks a lot for being part of this program, being associated with me. I think you're all loving this show. Please subscribe your views on the YouTube channel, because YouTube channel we have an archival library. Facebook we may not be always available. Facebook things may be removed, but YouTube channel will always remain. Sheetalnath Conversations YouTube channel. Kindly repeat your comments if possible. If possible, kindly repeat your comments and make this channel readable. Make this channel immortal, make this channel approachable and serve some purpose to the larger audience, researchers, diaspora, and lovers of this subject. Thank you very much and good night. Namaskar. Shabak hai.